Hey Milligan, welcome to this week's Movie Buffs, Milligan's own film review program. I'm Andrew Green.
And I'm Melanie Richards. This week we reviewed Edge of Darkness, the new Mel Gibson action thriller. Edge of Darkness stars Mel Gibson as Thomas Craven, a homicide detective living in Boston. When his daughter is brutally gunned down on the front porch of his home, authorities believe that Craven was actually the intended target. However, he's not buying it, and he begins an investigation of his own. However, in his pursuit of the truth, he soon learns that things are a little bit bigger than he imagined.
Craven runs into a cleaner named Jedburgh, played by Ray Winstone, who warns him he needs to stop messing in things that are out of his league. However, Craven's desire for justice propels him onward through many obstacles until he's satisfied that it has been served.
So, what did you think about this film, Andrew?
Well, there's a lot that I really liked about this movie. First of all was the really great action beats. It was directed by Martin Campbell, who directed GoldenEye and Casino Royale, and between the intense fight sequences, the high-paced car chases, and the nail marks I must have left in the armrests, it really shows. I also really liked the plot. It was very interesting. The opening scene was very original, and it really brought you into the story. And a lot of questions came up really quickly that I was very excited to have answered. And when the answers finally came, I was both very satisfied and very surprised. What did you think about it?
Well, one thing that I really loved about this film was the awesome return of Mel Gibson. Now, we haven't seen him for a while. In fact, the last big acting job that he had was Signs back in 2002. And since then, he's taken time off to direct big projects like Passion of the Christ and Apocalypto. And so it was great to see him back in the acting spotlight, and especially in a role that suited him so well. And the great thing about Edge of Darkness is that you get to see Mel Gibson in two very different lights. You get to see his sensitive side with the grieving, the loss of his daughter, and as well as the jam-packed action side of Mel Gibson that we all know. And so it was just great, and I feel like he was absolutely superb in this movie. One thing I really didn't like about this film, however, was just the sheer amount of dialogue. Now, don't get me wrong, I liked the script, I thought it was well written and a good story, but a lot of this film is spoken in the dialogue, the plot that is, and it's not shown right out in front of you. Now, this is where I got a little bored with the characters having just conversation after conversation. My mind tended to wander a little bit, and it was sort of bad because you got to follow the plot that way. But although it was refreshing to see a recent action film that didn't have an explosion every 10 seconds, I do think they overdid the dialogue just a bit. What did you think?
Well, there was definitely a lot of dialogue there. Since I liked the story so much, it didn't bother me so much. But what did bother me was how much of this film seemed to be left on the cutting room floor. There was one sequence in the third act, an action beat that just seemed out of context and a little bit strange. I wasn't really sure why it was in the movie. And there were also a few things that the film was starting to set up in the beginning that I didn't feel like it really paid off at the end. I was able to put these things together in my mind, but I really felt that they were important issues that the film should have stated conclusively. Altogether, we both really liked this movie. It had some great action beats, a really good plot, and the return of the Mel Gibson that we all know and love. We really recommend this film to anybody who really wants to see a really good revenge thriller, or just a movie that's better than the average box office fare. We give this movie 4 stars out of 5.
Well, that's it for this week's Movie Buffs. We would like to thank Reel to Reel Theaters and Carmike Cinemas for their help in this program.
And we'll see you next week.